Boy, you had me from the start. By the way you stare, the way you rolled up on me, yeah. Man, I felt your energy. Wasn't used to being loved and treated differently, yeah. But something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're on completely different pages. Let's go where we were, where no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Will you take me on a trip? Always up and down and back and forth in merry-go-round. I just wanna get it right, but when you go left, I'm stuck here feeling left behind.
Through thick and thin, for better or for worse. After 20 plus years of marriage and 3 children, my parents are sharing their love, care, and wisdom throughout the world. Spreading this love won't be hard for them because it's simply in their DNA. I present Donnell and Angelique Jackson.
Welcome to the Vine DNA. I'm one of your hosts, Donnell, and this is my beautiful queen.
I'm Angelique.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome. Thank you guys for joining us for our series of Survival Part 2, The Change. Our guests are here and awaiting to speak to everyone and tell everybody their stories. You want to give them a rundown of what we're going to be doing today, babe?
Okay, we're going to be hearing from actual survivors of domestic violence. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So every show is going to be about the subject, positive, uplifting subject matter, as much as it can possibly be. Of course, it's truth, it's raw, it's honest, and kind of disturbing in some ways. But the point is, they survived, they made it out, and we're going to hear all about their journey over these next weeks for this month of October. So you might say, well, you're supposed to be a show about love and relationships. Well, love relationships has issues that are not always pleasant, but we're here to talk about overcoming.
Yeah. So without further ado, we're going to bring in our wonderful guest here in just a second. So stay tuned.
Hi, everyone. You're muted still.
Namaste. I'm always muted.
Mr. Jackson, you're muted. There we go.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
That was
Okay.
okay. It was still playing on our end, even though you guys were up here. It was still playing on our. Listen, technology is off the chain today. So, how's everybody?
Good.
Everybody's good.
How
How's
are
you
you
guys'
guys
week
feeling?
been? It's been a whole week since we've seen you guys.
I
How's
know.
it? Everybody's good.
It's been good. It was a very quick week,
Yeah.
though, I feel.
Yeah,
It was.
it
Yeah,
went by
very short.
pretty fast. It really did. It went by pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's good to see you guys.
Thanks for having us back.
Yes,
Of course, of course.
Hi, Brett.
Oh, Real Beauty by Brittany.
Yeah.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Brown Eyes.
Hey,
Welcome in, everybody. Facebook, YouTube.
welcome in, welcome in. So, guys, you guys ready for this week?
I think so.
You know, the box.
Not the breath. Not the...
Let's get it. Okay.
Round
So,
one. Well, this is round two.
I know,
Round
round
two.
Two.
Yeah, today is about the change, and we're going to ask some questions about the change. Please feel free to ask each other questions as we go on. Like, you guys know how we've done it since last week and everything like that. So, yeah. So actually, I'm gonna begin with asking the ladies,
And your partner.
and when it, based upon what you guys said was the first time in the beginning, when did you guys notice a change in their behavior? Like, when did it go from being good to bad, or was it like bad to worse? When did you notice the change?
So I'll go first again. So for me, mine was good for, I would say, probably about 2-ish months or so in the beginning, and then it went bad to worse to what the hell, I guess, would be the best kind of transition of how that happened. So statistically speaking, somebody can only fake their personality for a maximum of 3 months. They can only mask who they truly are for a maximum of 3 months. The person that I was with could only do so for about 2 months. And then, red flags started to pop up. This person was extremely manipulative and controlling very quickly in our relationship. I was 19 years old. So I was like, oh, that's just that he loves me so much. He wants me all to himself. He just loves me so much, right? You're naive to what manipulation is because hopefully in your life you've not experienced it so far. So for me, it was like, oh, he's trying to whisk me away. He's trying to be my Prince Charming. He doesn't want to share me with my friends anymore. It wasn't like, spend time with me instead of going with your friends. It's like, no, you're not going with your friends because you're spending time with me. But in my mind, it was like, oh, I really want to spend time with you. Like, don't go out with your girlfriends or whichever, right? So that's kind of the initial change. It was the isolation. It was, you don't get to go see your family. You don't get to go see your friends because as soon as they have you isolated, their opinion is the only one that matters. Their manipulation can stick its daggers in you, deeper. And they can basically make you believe anything they want you to because their opinion is the only one that you're hearing. You don't get that, sounding board of your friends being like, bitch, are you crazy? Why are you in this relationship? You don't have that anymore. They have complete and utter control of you. And it starts emotionally and it starts mentally and then it becomes physically. You can no longer go to Christmases anymore because, he doesn't like your family or you don't get along with the family anymore because you're choosing him now over your family. So that's kind of the progression of my change is when that happened.
Wow. Wow. Okay. What about you, Mandy?
I want to say that the change happened really quickly. I want to say within weeks, maybe months,
maybe a month. It happened actually. It happened from the beginning, but it started to happen more after I found out I was pregnant. So I got pregnant a month into the relationship,
Wow.
and I think like for me, I was told that when they're first time fathers and stuff, something goes on in their head and they freak out, and which I thought was normal because I was freaking out too. I was only 19 years old, and then he got more distant. It was like real quietness, disappearing a lot. Um, the physical didn't start until like later, but it was very much verbal. Like it would even be to the point, in those early stages of being pregnant, we don't feel very beautiful because of the constant throwing up and all whatever it brings. And I didn't want to be in a dress. I didn't want to be dolled up, and I even got told like why don't you get dressed already? Like why you always gotta look like a mess now? And that it was more so like it was hurtful, but I don't know why I still thought that, oh, he's just looking out for me. And like
Naivety.
I wanna say maybe like 6 months. I was probably like 5 months pregnant and that's when it started to become like physically.
So 6 months within the relationship, that's when
So you
now
were still
Yeah.
pregnant when it became physical.
Yeah, I was. And that was tough to deal with mentally, emotionally, physically, again, still young, having a baby myself and not knowing, when you cry a lot, they feel that um being very depressed, not telling nobody. I stood very silent about it. I stood silent about it for years. Like no one knew what was going on with me. They just thought that he manipulated me, yes, but they didn't know that he was actually being physical behind closed doors because, of course, he was doing it behind closed doors. And I want to say it was like each kid, it got worse. And the physical really, really, like to the point where I couldn't hide it anymore was right after my son. I was 22, 23 years old. And I remember it very well because it was the first time I ever had to face my family because it was my daughter's third birthday and I couldn't walk. So now I'm lipping, I have a long dress on, and they're like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Nothing, nothing." And with some drinks in and people chit chatting and talking within the party, I have one of my cousins come up to me and actually confront me, and I almost passed out because I was so like flawed. Like I couldn't believe that it was like my secret was getting out.
The shame. The shame was coming into play.
right.
hmm And I
Wow.
denied it all. I denied
Hmm.
it all. I denied it for years. Even though I would have bruises and stuff like I would deny it completely and say, nope, nope, that's not happening. I don't know what you're talking about. If you don't like it, then you could leave. Like, not knowing that was the form of manipulation too, to not want, again, not want to be around the friends because I got that done to me. Well, don't hang out with them, hang out with me. You're supposed to
Yeah.
be spending time with your family. It's about family, not friends. Not realizing like I was still a kid. I was a kid trying to be a mom, trying to be a wife.
Right.
Right.
And I still didn't know myself. I didn't live life. Like and to me I was living life, but it was like at a price because a lot of people would tell me, "Well, why don't you go work or why don't you leave him?" Or they would try to say the right things, but for me it was just like again, I struck gold. He had a nice family. My kids were good. I was good and I was so broken on the inside, and I masked it so well to my knowledge because when I started telling my story, a lot of people be like, "Wow, that happened to you," and I really sit there and be like, "I didn't tell you," and it happened. I want to say the worst of it, probably maybe I want to say 7 years into the relationship where I thought for the first time I was gonna die.
Wow. Wow. So you're just trying to basically you're just trying to make make a good situation out of a bad one, pretty much.
You're surviving. That's what you're doing. You're literally just trying to make it to the next day.
Yeah.
You're not
That's
living, you're just
exactly how it
surviving.
felt
That's
like.
all you are.
I don't even think I was surviving. I really felt like, now looking back, like a lot of it was like a blur.
Because
Like
you
I
were just
wasn't
you were on
paying
autopilot.
attention
Your
to
body
nothing.
was you're
Yeah.
on autopilot, right? Like, and I can relate to that because I too lived a decade, basically 9 years in autopilot. I was just trying to do
Mhm.
whatever I needed to do in order to fake be okay at work, to still have my job, because my ex never worked a day in his life. So I was the provider for the family while getting abused at home as well. That's a whole other part of the story. But I'm a bubbly personality, so I couldn't all of a sudden not be me. So I had to put on the show of still being me, still being outgoing, still acting happy, while going home being completely exhausted and then having to deal with being verbally abused and called every single name under the sun. I was much heavier then, so I was a lazy fat piece of shit because the dishes weren't done, the laundry wasn't done. I'm like, what the hell were you doing all fucking day? You've been sitting here all day doing nothing, but I'm the lazy piece of shit. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself, but you're literally on autopilot. You're just on autopilot to get through the day. That's all you are. That's why it's a blur, is because you're just on autopilot.
Yeah, for sure. You live that way for a very long time. And it's so bad for me to the point where sometimes now I look at my children and I look at pictures and it's like almost like I had amnesia. Like I look at them and I'm like, but where, I don't remember that. Like, where was
Right.
I? Like, and you could see it in my eyes that I was present in the pictures, but my mind was really somewhere else. I
Right.
was really far gone to the point where I kind of self destructed towards the end, but that was more of the outlet.
Right.
But it was always a constant change. It was never like one thing. I felt like I was almost dodging darts all the time because it was a person of many personalities. So
Mm-hmm.
one minute you're okay, the next minute you're upset about something, the next minute you make an excuse or a fight to go out, and it was just a constant. And that's when the I would tell everybody I'm sorry for everything. Oh,
You
I'm
have to
sorry.
people please,
Oh,
because you're in a constant
I'm
state of
sorry.
paranoia. You don't know what you're going to walk into. You don't know what they're going to come home like. You don't know what you're going to say that's going to trigger them and set them off. You don't know if you're getting a book thrown at your head, a right hook coming in, a kick to the stomach. You don't know what you're dealing with. You're in a
Right.
constant state of fear and paranoia to the point where you're just waiting for the ball to drop. And it is exhausting to live that way.
So for me, for the ball to drop is like waiting to be killed almost. That's sick to think, but that's how I thought. It was like,
Right.
if I don't stand up for myself or at least try, like I really would talk to myself like that. Like, I'm gonna die one day. Like, I'm literally just gonna be sleeping one day and just by accident hit me the wrong way, choke me the wrong way, kick me down the stairs too hard, hit me with something that my body couldn't take, and I was very exhausted and my body endured a lot and I was just ready to go at the end. And I said it before, I left on his birthday with nothing. And I don't think that they want you to see that they it's almost hard for them to face the truth because in my case, like even now, the person still won't admit that happened.
Mine never admitted it either. Denial. They live in a constant state of denial. Oh, I didn't do that to you. You're making this shit up. I never did that to you. Are you fucking crazy? You're a fucking psychopath. What are you talking about? I never raised my hand to you. I never raised my voice to you. I'm the victim here. Fuck it. Yeah, trust me. our stories are so similar, and it's like the fact that there's more than one fucking evil person out there like that is scary, and there are so many. Um, yeah, yeah, it's exhausting
Wow.
to say the least.
Wow.
My gosh, my gosh.
Huh. So, Mr. Noel, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, so I know when you mentioned, you did mention last week, you talked about your father, or as I would call him, the sperm donor. Um, you did mention, yeah, that's how I feel. I'm calling it as it is. You feel me? Um,
Mhm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of you probably remember when you were young. Can you remember like when you noticed any type of like when it? Do you have a moment when it was good and then it went bad, or was it like from what you remember everything was bad? Was there any type of transition from good to bad?
Or did it go from bad to worse?
Right.
Okay, this is kind of tricky because from the way it happened, should I say like he basically was more than one person in one? Because like first of all, it was never good. It started out bad. It got worse. But the thing is, there were fluctuations along the line. Some days it's like, oh my God, did I hit you? Oh no, oh no, oh no. And then 2 seconds later, boom, we're back to square one. So, like, that really messes up the psyche. That just fucks the child up because you have no idea what's coming. 1 minute they're getting your ice cream, the next minute you're literally on the pavement. Then the next minute they're like, oh wow, I did that. That's because you made me do it. It's your fault for making me do it. You're stupid. That's why I did it. Now don't be stupid again and I won't do it. Problem. What was the stupidity? Being a child, you know. So for me, it's kind of like he was always worse. He was always degrading. The character, the way he did it got worse as time came wore on. But there were fluctuations in there that really messed everything up, you know. And like I can relate to what Chrissy and Mandy are saying, because like that isolation, that feeling of nobody else can do it better. I am doing the best. You are in this situation because it's your fault. So maybe you should try harder. You should please me harder. You should do what I'm saying better. And if you want to run, because I remember there were days that oh my God, I thought about running. Jesus, did I think about running? Like, I just wanted to run. There was no destination. There was no plan. I didn't even care about taking clothes. I didn't care about taking anything. I just wanted to wake up, jump out a window, and just run. Just keep going till my feet were bleeding. Nothing. Just keep going. I did not care. But again, they've instilled that notion in you of where would you go? What would you do? Who would take you in? You're not good enough. Nobody wants you. Like you should have been aborted, like you're literally a mistake, so you're a burden. In fact, like I am doing you a favor by even allowing you to exist, to breathe, because at any moment I can kill you. At any moment you do not exist anymore, and me being your parent means that I have that right. So there are days like Mandy's story, there are days when basically I fantasized about death. Like there were days when I wanted to die. I prayed to die because I'm like, it's better than this. But then there are days when I wanted to leave. And so it's just that roller coaster of emotions. And again, that pretense of when you go out into public, when you go out into society, you're like, oh, everything is okay, everything is peachy. But you realize at the back of your mind that no matter what's going on, whether you're in school playing with all the other kids, you have to play hard because when you get home, you may never come back to school again. You know, you may never wake up the next day. And that thought, that idea, that no matter what you do outside, there is that person waiting for you back home. It really breaks you out to the point that you disassociate yourself and you become autopiloted, like Chrissy said. You just do things, you just say things, you are not there. You're moving, you're eating, but you're not there because at the back of your mind, that fear of I don't want to do something, I don't want to drop the ball, basically. Let me not move this way, let me not say this thing, let me not feel this way, let me just just compact yourself, stay in the ball and stay in the corner, be invisible. Because that is the only way to survive. Just be invisible and agree with whatever goes on. So yeah, it only got worse. Basically, it only got worse. Mr.
You're
Jackson,
muted.
you're
So, thank you. So, like when you guys went out, or if you guys went out somewhere
If
or
you
in
were in
public,
social settings,
right? Did did you have to? Did you act a certain way? Or what was their behavior different in the social setting, or did they still act the same way they would in private, out in the open?
well, to everybody else, he has to be because he has to be this upstanding citizen, you know. He has to be the father of a happy family. So the truth being that even outside you were not safe, but you were safe. You were not safe in the sense of he could take you to the bathroom and deal with you. He could take you behind closed doors and do what he wants to do with you and leave you there. But you were safe in the sense of okay, there was an incident that happened. We went for kind of like a fundraiser, and it was kind of like this get together of who's who at the time, and people were just there. And I was about again the ages are a mess, but I was about let's say 4, 5 in between them. And the whole situation was my deal was to smile and be the perfect kid so that he can have that image of a family man, that image of a good father. So we were basically props. And I remember I love kids. I've always loved kids. I remember being there and seeing all these kids playing. And instinctively, I don't know what came over me. I joined them in the whole hopscotch and everything they were doing. And I was having the time of my life, basically. Next thing I know, someone grabs me by the back of my head, drags me down because at this point they were doing like a speech and everybody was focused on something else. Drags me to the bathroom, and the bathroom had many stalls in there to kind of demarcate when you're doing your stuff. And he basically used my head to break the door, about two of the doors of that store. And when he did that, I was on the floor gasping for air. And he was spitting at me and he was like, you are just a fuck up piece of shit. I bring you, I do this, da, 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 you can't do anything right, blah, 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 like all that stuff was going on. And then when he was done, he now picks me up and pours water on me and like cleans out the blood and everything. And it's like, if you make another move, you will die. Just bet me on that. And I remember going into the party with that at the back of my head, you will die, you will die. And as I was in the party, I have to smile and I have to be this cute boy and I have to greet everybody. But inside, people are seeing me smiling like, oh, he's so cute. Oh, pinch his cheeks. Oh my God, so adorable. But that kid that is so adorable is dying inside, like at the back of, because I knew this is not done. Because when we go home, you're still going to pay the penance for your stupidity. And so not only was I dreading that, but at the back of my mind, I began to fantasize about like, what if we were on the road and we had an accident? Just that same fantasy of, can I die to escape what's about to happen? You
Wow.
know. So basically, that is just a little tidbit of the kind of environment I was in at that point. So yeah, outside he tried to be perfect. He tried to be this family man, but even then, you're still not safe. You're still not safe. And it did get to a point when afterwards some people did begin to see past the facade of this nice Christian man. Because another thing that they used to get you is, oh, it's I'm a Christian, I'm a good person. It's not my fault. It's their fault for causing me to do that. And the fucked up part being after everything, he will still call you for prayers. And he would pray to God to forgive you for being a failure.
Wow.
Ba-
What?
Like he'll be like, get on your knees, you got to pray. You are a fuck up, you are a failure, you're a piece of shit, you should not exist. I'm sorry you existed. And we are praying. I am praying that God forgives me for being me. I am praying, okay, I eat food. Eating is a sin. Food is a sin. So I have to pray that I ate. I was sick. Being sick is a sin. So I have to pray because apparently sickness is God's judgment of my stupidity so far. Sleeping is a weakness. Sleeping is a sin. Like just basically every single thing is a sin. All you need to do is fast and pray. And that is the way, you know. So imagine every night you come home and he's like, oh, you did this, now let's pray. And then after the praying, you get your beating and you get your punishment because apparently that is his way of penance. That is you paying your penance for basically being a child.
Wow. That's huh, that's something else right there. That's wow. Oh man. I do have some more questions, but I'm gonna take a quick break. That was crazy. You got to wow. I'm gonna go to the lady the next question. But I'm gonna take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm gonna go to the ladies with the next question, okay? Wow, welcome back. Welcome back. That was quite a bit of information there, and see the relationship between mass emotions with people, especially domestic abuse, child abuse of all kinds. Man, so ladies, if I could go to you, um, when did you? I think I asked that question. You guys notice a
And they even
change?
answered it
You answered
with their
that.
social setting.
You did.
The first part of the questioning, where they said in social settings they would, you know, lie or deflect, from what was going on.
Yeah. So when did you guys understand that you were? When did you guys understand you were in an abusive relationship? At what point?
When I found out, my family told me.
Go ahead.
No first for you, Chrissy. I'm just kidding.
No, it's okay. I can be patient with friend.
And that family feud button.
She wins.
You're done. No.
You're done.
I'm joking.
Yes.
But yeah, it was. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's just I kind of went blank. I'm sorry.
No problem. Take your time.
Because I kind of had like a flash of what happened. So I think I just need a minute.
No problem.
Did you want me to jump in while you take your minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, no problem.
So for me, I realized that I was in an abusive relationship when I could no longer openly talk about what happened at home in my relationship. And knowing that I was in an abusive relationship and acknowledging that I was in an abusive relationship were two separate things for me. I knew that I was in an abusive relationship quite early on, but I didn't think it was that bad because it never really turned physical until the last year of my relationship. It was primarily emotional and psychological abuse that I suffered for a lot of years, financial abuse, and then came in sexual abuse, and then came in the physical abuse at the end. So it was just kind of a progression. But for me, as soon as I could no longer tell my friends, oh, you know, so and so and I got in this argument and this is what he said, what would you do? Because there's no way that you can go to your friends and just say, hey, you know, my boyfriend just called me a piece of shit, fat, ugly cunt, or a lazy fucking fat piece of shit that no one will ever love and you're not worthy to even be with me. I'm just doing you a favor by being with you. How do you go to your friends and have that conversation with them and say, sorry, my husband apparently has to go use the washroom. Yeah, sure, go ahead. You just turn this here. Real life people. Sorry, you just totally threw me off what I was saying. You can't go to your friends and say, you know, my boyfriend just said all this stuff. What would you do in that situation? You can, however, say, my boyfriend is spending too much time with his guy friends and I want more of his attention. What would you do? But you can't say, you know, my boyfriend just went out and experimented with a man and didn't tell me about it. And then I found out and now he's crying about it because he's not sure what's going on in his life. I can't go to my friends and family and say, my now fiance just cheated on me with a prostitute and paid her $200 to suck his dick behind his old school because he thought that that was fun. You can't go to your family and be like, hey, my fiance, you know, wishes that all of you would die in a car crash and burn in a house fire. You can't really go to your friends and family with that. So that's when I knew I was in an abusive relationship, but I still never acknowledged that it was abusive because it wasn't physical. There's such a stigma around abusive relationships if there's no physicality to it. It's, oh, you know, I did this, so this is just how he expresses himself, you know, this is just what he does. Because at the point when you realize it, you're so far manipulated into thinking that their behavior is acceptable and that you deserve whatever it is that they're doing to you. So my ex cheated on me very frequently, but I was the friend that was always like, when my friends would come to me, oh, I caught him talking to another girl, I'd be like, why are you with him? Like, leave him. Mind you, the person that I'm supposed to marry just paid a prostitute. Like, what? But I still went through with the marriage because I was so ashamed to admit that to anybody. I was more embarrassed of my image to my friends and to my family than I was my future being married to this horrible person. So I put myself on the back burner to uphold this perfect relationship that everybody thought that we had, that we did have in the first couple of months of dating. But now we're nearly 2 years into our relationship, and he's cheating on me not only with women, but also with men, trying to figure out himself. He received inheritance and blew through that within a year. We were going to school together for the same thing. I graduated, got my license. He dropped out, and he always held that against me. He told me that I wasted his inheritance, that I was the reason he never graduated school. So he was a silver spoon type of child. He had zero responsibilities. He was never ever taught to take accountability for his own actions and his own words. So anything that he did, it was my fault. And his family also backed that up. So anything that he did, why would you let him drink and then get in the car? Why would you let him, go out with his buddies and get drunk? Why would you let him spend all of your rent money on weed and alcohol? I'm sorry. Is he my husband or is he my child? Because if I treat him as a child, then I'm berated all hours of the night. I was the only person working in our household, and he would get drunk and play music until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm getting up at 5:30 for work. So near the end of our relationship, I was going and sleeping in well-lit parking lots with my puppy, Coco, because she was a puppy at the time, to paint a picture of the type of person that this guy was. And I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, so I apologize. But in a social setting, okay, our dog, we had a dog together. We got him when we were in school. He lived till 6.5. He was overbred, just the cutest little Cocker Spaniel you ever saw. But at 6.5 years old, we had to put him down. So we take him into an emergency vet at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're both in the room, and this young, probably like 21-year-old vet student starts explaining the procedure of what she's going to do to our dog. We're going to give this needle. This is what shuts this down. Then this needle shuts this down. And he goes, I don't fucking give a shit what you have to say, bitch. Put my fucking dog down. That's what I brought him here for. And I was like, I am so sorry. You need to get the fuck out of the room, I said to my ex, because at this point, I was like, absolutely not. Like, when I saw him disrespecting somebody else, I could stand up like nobody's business. But when it was towards me, it wasn't worth the argument. So he left the room, and here I am having to apologize I was always the cleanup crew. I always had to give an excuse for his behavior. I always had to clean up the mess that he made with his behavior. He told our landlord that he wished that she died in a house fire with her children. And we're still actively renting from this lady. Like, do you not understand that that's harassment, and we could get evicted and have nowhere to live, and that's all on me because you don't fucking work? So that's my problem now. So this was my life. Constant, like, backpedaling, constant cleanup, constant reasons why he was acting this way. So in a social setting, he was never really quote unquote behaved. He did whatever the fuck he wanted because he knew that I would clean up the mess for him. So that was my life in public. It was great.
Well, I guess I'll share
I don't know
the
if you're
thought
talking,
that
Mr.
came in my
Jackson.
head.
I'm just saying.
No, I muted it. I'm sorry. So let me go to Mandy. Man, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Mandy now.
You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna just share the thought that popped in my head because that's probably when I did realize it and I just ignored it. It was Christmas, and I'll never forget it because Christmas are usually really sad because, and like, in my feelings, because I buried my mother on the 24th. So his family would throw this party like every Christmas Eve all the time. And the same thing, like the drinking would happen. Well, why'd you let him drink that much? And him acting a fool. And I would try to get away with like get away from it as much as I could, and like stay in my own little corner so I wouldn't feel the wrath basically. Um, I remember a family member asking me to go upstairs to go get their purse and their jacket. So I went upstairs and it was his parents' room. And I walked into the room and it's like out of a movie. I walked into the room, I went to pick the jacket up, and I heard the door close and lock. So I picked up my head, and when I looked up, it was him. And at this point, I don't know if I'm gonna get beat up, raped, die. So I'm just staring at him, and I can't tell you what words were exchanged. I just remember me getting lunged over a bed and me thinking I'm gonna die, and hearing cousins, aunts, friends, everybody banging on that door, telling me to open the door. Amanda, stop, open the door. Amanda, get to the door. And I'm on the floor like, I can't get him off of me. And I was thinking, this is not okay. It's Christmas. It's Christmas Eve. I'm celebrating family and celebrating a loss at the same damn time and still trying to be happy. And in a second, that person just took that from me. And I will never forget it because that moment, I never was the same person ever again. I was never sensitive anymore. I was very much cold hearted. I became very hard and rough around the edges, so like glass. No one could touch me. No one could talk to me. No one could look at me. No one could question me. Everything became anxiety after that. Door slamming, feet like pounding on the floor, just windows closing, the beat to the car. Even sometimes like I'll be laying asleep and my poor husband, he'll try to like snuggle me and I'll jump and hit him because it's like I have that in my mind, I'm gonna die. And as much it's easier now, but it still lingers sometimes because again, I have children with this person, so it's like a constant reminder that that person could have took my life away. That person almost got to say they took my life away. And I think I'm still trying to get used to the fact that that happened to me, like accepting it. I know it happened. I know it was wrong. I know that's not what love is. It's just very hard to move forward with the trauma. The trauma is what's been my biggest battle. It's just the constant remembering and the little triggers. I could talk myself through them, but it's just the sadness for me of me even having to do that. Like me even having to be scared and get anxiety because somebody knocking on my door, and it could just be the mailman. It could just be the person downstairs telling me, hey, your Amazon package is here. Or like the other day, I had a freak out. I was on the phone with a doctor, and somebody kept calling me. And I noticed afterwards what happened. I just picked up. I'm like, hello, like, what do you want? And not knowing it was, somebody to come fix the house. And then afterwards, when I calmed down, I'm like, why did I do that? Like, why was I so upset? Like, I knew he was coming, but it was the constant calling. And I didn't even know that that could still affect me to this day. So it's like I'm still learning that there's things that trigger me, that remind me of what happened, because I forgot. I blocked it out.
Wow.
Yes, compartmentalization is what we do.
Mhm.
That's
And sometimes the trauma just surprises you. You're like, oh,
More times than not, it surprises you just out of nowhere.
you're like, oh, wow. I didn't remember that. And now that I do remember that, wow, what do I do with that?
Right. Where do I stuff that back in? Let me recompartmentalize that because I don't want it.
Yes, it could be driving down the street,
Right.
listening to music in your own zone, and all of a sudden, a
Mm-hmm.
memory will pop in. And you're like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it's just so crazy how it could still bring back that feeling.
It
Of
takes
just-
you back to that moment. Exactly back in that moment, exactly to that fear, that paranoia. Yet, consciously you're not in that, but subconsciously your mind is still very much there. So physically, you're reacting physically because your mental is there. But how do you describe that to somebody that you're physically sharing your life with? In the beginning, I didn't know that I still had all of these triggers. I had no clue because I didn't let anybody get close enough for me to allow that to happen, right? Like I had my own triggers that I worked through on my own that I was self-aware of. I had my hard yeses and my hard nos in relationships. I worked very hard to get to a point where I felt okay to even be around men in general with what I had gone through, to the point where when I let my husband in, my husband was the only man that I ever let into the emotional side of my heart. We had to figure out my heart together, kind of, in a way, which was not fair to him, but I'm thankful to God every day that he was patient enough to do that with me and to understand that, yes, I am broken, but I am worth mending. And he really helped me mend that last part of myself. And I'm still not completely mended. I still have my jagged edges. I still have my triggers. We've been together 3 years now, but he still chooses me every single day and I choose him every single day. And that alone is what gets me through the day, is knowing that no matter the trigger that's going to pop up, no matter the immediate reaction that I have zero control over, because as much as I don't want to go to that, debilitating, I'm convulsing on the bed crying, or I am so aggressively angry that I don't have any nice words to say. Those are my two extremes that I go to. The fact that he knows that about me and he accepts that about me and he is patient with me when I'm in a trigger and tries to understand what set it off so that I can avoid it. I don't know what I ever did in this life to deserve that. And that's something that I'm still struggling with is the worthiness. Self-worth comes from me, but then to be worthy of someone else's self is where it's like, I know that he was sent to me from God. I know that this is all in God's plan, but to actually accept the love fully and to know that I deserve it after what I've been through is an ongoing journey for me.
Yeah, you know what, and not to say that when it comes to you wondering why you deserve someone, believe it or not, I want to say with me having bad relationships, there's sometimes I'm like wondering, it's like I have such a great woman in my life. It's like, what did I do to deserve her? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
when you said it, it's just like, damn. And sometimes I think about it, I say, damn, like what did I do, because I felt like with me going through those relationships, I felt like there was something really wrong with me. You know what I mean? So,
that I deserved it.
Right. Yeah, I deserve going through some of those things. And then you have someone to come into your life to treat you, like you're
unlike any other.
right.
Like you're an actual human, that you are deserving of love, that you are her king and you are his queen. It's such a hard thing to accept to a damaged person, which is the hardest part of being in an abusive relationship, is being in a healthy relationship after your abusive relationship.
I can agree.
That is the hardest part for me. Going through every single day, being beaten, being, verbally beaten, being financially beaten, being sexually beaten, whatever it was. This is by far the hardest thing. is being in a healthy relationship and trying to, when I get triggered, not associate the person with the person. It's what is the trigger?
That's
How do
hard.
I avoid it? Right? It's not,
Mm-hmm.
why is this person like my ex? Because that's not it. Because if it was, I'd be bye.
Right.
It's like, but what about this behavior is reminding me of that situation, and how do we successfully avoid it? Or can we successfully avoid it?
Right.
Right?
Yes. Wow. So,
And
so go ahead, Noel.
yeah, it's kind of like that worthiness. It's kind of like you have spent such a long time being messed up psychologically, physically, mentally, and it gets to the point that you become toxic. You That becomes a way
You
of
have
life for
to
you.
survive it. You have to be toxic.
Exactly.
Definitely. And you
Like
have
that
to
is
be just
yeah,
as toxic as the person doing it to you, I felt.
exactly.
You do.
Because you
You
have
have to
to
beat them
be
at their
ahead
own
of
game.
them. Right.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's chess and you have to checkmate them. It's fucked.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you
It's fucked
unlearn
up.
that? How do you unlearn that with
Exactly.
somebody? You know?
I've learned in my healing journey with this that was part of my inner healing. That was part of my shadow work. That was part of like going back and having to really face that. Like I one day I wrote it down. I wrote down everything that happened to me, every
Mm-hmm.
single thing, everything I could remember. Every
Mm-hmm.
picture I had, I put it in one folder in my laptop, and I just have it right there. And sometimes when I feel down or I think about it too much or I'm having those triggers you talk about, I'll go and read that. And when I read it, it reminds me like that's not me no more.
Right.
I have to give closure to this girl that went through this. I
Mm-hmm.
have to make it okay for her to be like, listen, I got this now.
Right.
You don't have to be scared. You don't have to be cold. You don't have to do those things because you're not at that time and place anymore or with that person. Like
Right.
with I've it's going on 2 years that I've been with the husband I am with now, and he too had to. Oh, I think I froze. Oh, he too had to take some heat to that because I wasn't healed how I thought I was healed.
Mm-hmm.
I suppressed a lot, and it became to the point where he had to tell me, you know what your problem is? You've been so hurt and you've gone through so much. You won't trust nobody with it because you think they're going to use that against you. You think that love is supposed to hurt you, or the person that loves you is supposed, I don't want to hurt you. I just don't understand.
Right.
And I had to make myself understand that they never been through these kinds of things, or they never experienced a person like me, or they never heard these kinds of stories that I tell. And even like I said, a simple touch bothered me, and it became to a point where people would ask me, do you think I'm disgusting? Everybody thought I thought they were disgusting to me,
Because you'd flinch. You'd pull away.
or I just make these certain little faces like, and I don't really, again, I guess my
Know that
face
you're
speaking
doing
before my
it.
mouth, my actions speaking before I do. And I had to really go in and say, hey, let's not do that. Or if
Mm-hmm.
we're feeling like this, I had to find a way to vocalize it to him. And
Yep.
he learned to not take it personal. And he's just like, are you triggered? Okay,
Yep.
what do you think it is? How can I help that? Do you want
Yep.
me to just get away from you?
Yep.
And I never experienced that. So for me, it was hard for me to even accept that somebody wanted to be nice to me. Somebody
And for
actually
me,
wanted to take time out their life to help heal me.
the hardest part too was I was worried that my triggers were going to create triggers for my husband, because to get through a trigger, it has to happen a few times for you to understand what's happening, for you to understand how to overcome it and come through it. Right. And my biggest
Mm-hmm.
thing was a lot of my issues that happened with my husband that I wasn't understanding in the beginning, not to get too personal, were in the bedroom. And it had to do with like physical touch, right? Because that's where at the end of my relationship, a lot of my abuse came into play. So I didn't realize that I had those triggers because, again, when I was on my quote unquote, we'll call it hoe shit, it was just that. I was in control. I did what I wanted when I wanted, and that was it, right? Well, when you have someone who's actively pursuing you because they love you and they're attracted to you and vice versa, some things that catch you off guard, you automatically kind of like, you do the body flinch, right? You do the body pull away, and he's like, are you okay? Like, I'm not forcing myself. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't want you to feel like I feel like, you know what I mean? And like, I was like, oh my God, is he going to stop pursuing me because this is the way that my body is reacting to this action? Is this going to mess him up emotionally because this is the way that we want to connect, but I have a barrier that I'm trying to work through? And I remember when he first moved in, work weekends were always the worst because for me, it was 24/7 we were together, and I was still trying to work out how to live with another human being with all of my triggers that were now rearing their ugly heads, right? Like, this is not something that I had experienced before. So weekends were hell for us when he first moved in because it was 24 hours or 48 hours together. So I remember I had just kind of been at my breaking point, and I was like, maybe like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months in, and I was like, do you even want to do this anymore? And he's just like, what are you talking about? I was like, do you even like, is this giving you what you thought it would give you out of the relationship? I'm like, I just feel like I am ruining you as a person. And what do you even love about me? Like, I'm unlovable. Like, I've said these words to him. I was like, I am so unlovable. I'm making you so unhappy. I can see it on your face. And you just look, and I'm sobbing at this point. And he's just looking at me and he's like, can I talk now? Because interruption was another big trigger for me. So he's like, can I talk now? And I'm like, yeah. And he's just like, the fact that you don't see the beauty, even though you're broken, he's like, you're like a million pieces of glass, of stained glass, that regardless of which way the light shines through, you're beautiful. And he goes, and when you're glued back together again, you're going to paint such a beautiful picture. And I get to say that I helped build that. And the way that I ugly cried and had
Bruh.
snot running out of my nose, I was just like,
Bruh.
what? Like, what did I do to deserve that? And that's when that, what did I do to deserve that, came into play. Hey, Queen Bee. I was just like, why? Like, I love you so much. And yes, let's do this life thing together. But like, what the hell? Like,
Bruh, listen.
so foreign to me.
So with my last relationship, I actually had a baby. And that happened to me after the baby. So I was not only dealing with postpartum,
right?
How you say that? Healing from a C-section, dealing
Right.
with kids, dealing with myself. Now I had my sister who went through a domestic violence herself, which triggered everything back for me.
Right.
And then I found myself taking it out on my husband, and I didn't even know that.
Right.
And it got to the point where it would get like that, where I don't want to be touched, or just not. It started with just, I'm tired, not today. Then it became more and more. And then it came to a point where he had to ask me, like, do you even want me anymore? Are you attracted to me? Did I do something to you? Are you cheating? Like, just talk to me. What is it? Like, I'm not going to be mad. Just, I don't like this feeling. I feel like we just live in the same house. And for me, in my heart, I was okay with that. Because for me, it was, I'm going through something. I don't understand what it is. It's mental, it's emotional, it's together, and it's taking a toll on me, because it was even where it got to a point where I was saying that I don't think I could be a mom. Like, how could I have another baby again? how can this man want to have a baby with me? Like, can I do this? He took over everything to the point where I felt helpless in all aspects, that I didn't even want to be a wife, a mother. I didn't even want to be Mandy. I didn't want to
Right.
do anything. I didn't want to do ugly pretty chick. I didn't want to get in front of a camera. I was sad about everything, and it would be to the point where I would cry myself for months, cry myself to sleep, and my baby would be right next to me, and I couldn't even enjoy her because I was so into my depression. And I was into depression with her until she was about 6 months. So it was like, and even now looking back, I'm just like, damn, like I had to go through that and not enjoy those things. I have all these good things and I'm not grateful for them. And I felt like I was taking advantage of them because I was angry because of what I went through. I
Right.
was angry for everything I was getting triggered for. I thought that so much time passed away. Why is this still happening to me? Why don't I love my husband. Why don't I want to be next to him? Why don't I want to do the things I used to do with him? Playing games, going for walks, going shopping. That's my best friend. Why don't I want him around me?
Right.
But then that happened. He was getting too close, I thought. He's getting a little too close to me. And, people would say, but you have a baby with them. For me, okay, and
Right.
that still didn't make you close to me because of what I've been through. Because for me, it was like I had a child, but some sort of abuse would happen after it. So it was almost like a trauma that I never knew existed.
Right.
I have a question for you, all three, and this is like the this is going to be like an inner nerd type question. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? It's kind of like I want you to have fun with it because as I'm sitting here listening to you guys, it definitely upsets me when my wife had stories of things that happened to her in the past. It pissed me off. I wanted to kick ass. So I say this. Is my inner nerd coming out? Two-part question. If you can go back to one of those bad instances and talk to them, but they couldn't touch you. They couldn't touch you. They can see you, but you can actually you can talk to them for a good minute. What would you say? And then after that minute, I'll tell you what happens after that. What would you say? If you
We're
had one,
talking to our abuser.
you're talking to the abuser, but the thing is, before the second part of this step happens, you have 1 minute to say what you want to say. What would you be?
I know what I would say.
Would you be positive? Would you be? What would you say? I know you. I'm talking to them. I'm talking to them. I already know
She
what
always
your
has
answer will
to
be. Yeah.
oh,
She said,
I think my answer
Well,
might surprise you, actually.
yeah. So what? That 1 minute. What would you actually tell them?
that you need to learn how to love yourself. Like, you don't have to do this. It doesn't have to be this way. We could talk about it. Is there something wrong with you that you feel like, you have to be like this with me? Like the person that's on your side, in your corner every day, every single day, helping you. I've done everything for you. And to get the disrespect that you're giving is uncalled for. Would you want some man to treat your mother that way? Do you want somebody to touch your daughters that way? I know you wouldn't. So why? I'm somebody's daughter. I'm somebody's mom. I'm somebody's niece, cousin, friend. Do you not understand what you're doing? You're hurting your own self. Because you're hurting me, but you have to live with this. You did this. You could stop right now and not choose to keep doing it. You could choose to heal right now, and I will forgive you.
Wow, Chrissy,
Powerful. Wow.
that's powerful. That is.
I would say
Whew.
You're not ready for a relationship. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you want out of life. You need to figure out yourself. You need to figure out how to love yourself, even though your dad never loved you because his dad never loved him. You need to figure out who you are as a man if you want to one day take care of a future wife. You are not ready to be a father. You are not ready to start a career until you figure out what you want out of life. Stop taking things from me. Stop trying to take the brightness that I have to make your candle burn brighter because you don't even know what flavor of candle you are. You need to take your time. You need to figure out who you are and you need to seek your own forgiveness because you're not going to get it from me. What I will forgive is myself for allowing myself to go through what I went through, but you're not taking any more of my time.
Sir, you took some time, and I can tell.
A lot of emotion. You went through so many.
Just the second part of this.
Okay. Okay.
You look like you have about an hour or so. I just need 1 minute. That's it.
Yeah.
I just need 1 minute.
I need
That's all.
like 2 days. I need 2 days to unload what I got. But I'm just gonna be like, it's a sad thing that we have this cycle going on because I know you never got the love you got because of the way your family was. You don't even understand what love is. Neither did your dad, neither did his dad, and it just kept going on and on. And in your mind, in your psychotic mind, I know you think that you did what was best. But the truth is, I'm better than you ever will be. No matter what you did, no matter how you did what you did, I will never be you. I am 1,000 times who you are. I am 1,000,000,000 times what you are. And I will take this family's name and I will make it into something that you could never. And I would show the next generation how it is to be a man, what it means to be a man, to love, to be a father, to understand how life should be. And most importantly, you failed. You always projected yourself on me. You always said I was the failure, but deep down you're talking about yourself. And the fact that when you looked at me, you understood that this child was going to be something else. I am not the failure. I am not the one who caused your problems. And I'm sorry that you went through a fucked up life. Everybody got a story to tell. I mean, hell, you gave me a story to tell. But I hope deeply that you can forgive yourself and you can understand for 2 seconds what you did, who you are, and who you did it to. So that for the few moments you have on this planet, you could try to make a difference. You could try to actually make a change. And maybe God could forgive you. I don't know. That's your problem. That's you and Heaven's Gate. But for me, I've broken every fucking shackle you ever gave me, and I'm no longer chained to your insanity. And I'm done. And I'll prove that I'm Noel. You know.
Wow. Now, just
I'm
to
so proud of you.
that was freaking amazing. That was freaking amazing. Now, the second part to this, I mean, that everybody's was the same. It was powerful, powerful. The second part to this, I'm going to say everybody's last word to them before they leave is that now you're going to feel what you've been dishing out to me all this time. You get to take one person back to kick their ass. Who is it? I told you my inner nerd is coming out. Who you get to take?
Wait. Say that one more time.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You get to take one person back. You get to take one person back with you. I don't care who it is. One person back with you just to kick their ass. You get to watch. They can't touch you. They can't even touch the person who's kicking their ass. I told you, the inner nerd. I told you. Now you get to kick their ass, or you get to watch their ass get kicked. You get to watch, and and then to even add insult to injury, you get to talk to them some more while they're getting their ass kicked. Who are you taking? I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna give you guys some time to think about it.
Oh, Mr. Jackson!
Have fun with it. I'm gonna take a break. I'll be back.
Oh my God.
Hey there, in the mood for some style? Well, make your way over to queenbeehustle.com. Miss Hustle don't play no games now. She gave y'all options, keychains to multi-purpose trays to t-shirts. Select products can even be customized, all of which are made by this beautiful lady here, Miss Queen Bee. Head on over to queenbeehustle.com where hustle and creativity uniquely meet. Hey, hands looking a little plain there. That's okay though, I got you. Just head over to Nail Beauty by Brittany. Wait, don't tell me you don't know who she is. That's okay, that's fine. It's a good thing that ... here. I'm here to tell you. Nail Beauty by Brittany is an upcoming establishment that makes everyone's hands look pretty to boost your confidence throughout your daily basis. You get all these custom nails at a very affordable price. With proper care, these nails can last up to 3 weeks. If you head over to Brittany's social media, you'll see all of the custom nails that she has made thus far at a very affordable price. This company was made by this beautiful young woman here, Miss Brittany. Now y'all go over ahead and get your nails pretty, y'all. I'm showing no fan.
Yeah, welcome back. Hold on, let me bring her back up. Yeah, I know. Manny was like, wait,
Knock me all the way out.
Oh, it's about to go back.
We can jump their ass. Oh man, I don't know who wants to go first because you guys look equally excited. Like, oh my goodness, ooh. Even my wife was like,
There's so many people that you
Listen.
really want to take a group.
That's why I say woman, because I know it'll probably be a list. Okay, I'll tell you what.
I thought about it,
I'll tell you what.
but a group is too easy.
Group is too, so that's why I said one would be. So I figured maybe 2.
It's too quick.
Tag in. They can tag in. As they're getting their ass kicked. You get to talk to them as they're getting their ass kicked, and you can be positive to that while they get whatever you want to say. But I at least
sending light and love. Sending light. Lots of healing.
Who wants to go first?
I know who I'm sending.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
I'm gonna send Satan because guess what? He knows his own personal hell and he's gonna make him motherfucking suffer. So go ahead, Satan. Go ahead, do your thing. Don't fuck around with me. Fuck around and find out. Guess who my friend is? Satan. Fuck you.
Nice. Wait.
Ouch.
Damn.
I felt that.
I felt that too, boy.
I mean, if we fighting, I'm bringing the fucking person who you don't want to fuck with. I ain't fucking bringing no Hulk Hogan bullshit. Like, give me fucking
I'm
Satan.
bringing my
Let's go.
cousin.
Damn, she's taking a higher, lower, I don't even know what they call them, a higher or lower power anyway.
Hey, he's
But
the highest of the low.
She going with both.
She went. So, man,
I did not see that coming.
Really?
you can't take Satan because Satan's going on Chrissy's trip. You can't take him.
I already contracted him out. Sorry.
No, you see, me and Satan, we have an understanding. He only come out when it's like really bad. I still haven't sent him on nobody yet. But I would bring my cousin. My cousin gonna come with me because he is the one that has been, how can I say? I won't say a peacemaker because he really don't care about him. He's just been the one to be like, remember that's my cousin, remember that's a woman. And remember those are my nieces and nephew mother. So whether you like it or not, you have to respect it. So I would bring him back. What would I say? I'm like you told me, you learn how to throw your hands, right?
Ooh,
I hope you learned how to throw yours. And on top of that, I've recently over the summer have gotten to do something like this. No, well, not be his butt, but but make him feel my words, make him feel my presence, see him uncomfortable for once, you know. And it's not of anything I've done to go out my way to make this person feel that. I'm just a very powerful believer in exactly what you give is exactly what you're going to get back. The way you treat people, that comes back to you. And just as hard as you hit me, is just as hard as life is getting you. I
Mm.
don't need to do nothing. I'm sitting right here. I'm fine. I have everything I wanted. Everything I want, even more, will come. I like he said, I'm not you. I
mm-hmm.
don't live on this earth to hurt people. I don't get pleasure of hurting people. But what you won't do is think you're gonna disrespect me and put your monkey hands on me.
Uh-oh.
You won't call me out my name, especially in front of my children. And no one in your party will ever think they could ever disrespect me or mine ever, ever again. Because for that, you could just not talk to me at all. It's just that simple.
All
Now,
right. Yes. Yes. Oh, that's right.
Woo.
life is
Lord
the
have
Yes.
mercy.
ultimate teacher. Life will get them.
All right now.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
You take it.
Funny as it is.
I'm telling you, I'm here with the two pieces. I'll two piece him with my
She's
mouth.
still going in. Wait a minute. I put her back. She's
When you
still,
spit knowledge
she's
at
still going.
somebody, they don't know what to do with it.
She's still
Mm.
going.
Yeah. As crazy as it sounds, I have never actually thought about. I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I wish I could kill him. I wish I could do this. I wish I could hurt him." But that is something I've never actually thought about. I've never thought about hurting him. I've never thought about killing him.
Okay, but
Basically,
now you've
so
had 5 minutes, so who's helping you? Come on.
oof, damn.
You got to join the rest of us. We all committed to
Talk
this
about a
now. You got
rider.
to
I'm taking
step it
Chrissy.
up too.
Okay, I got Chrissy, but
He
Chrissy's
won't even see
busy
her
on her
coming.
own. Okay, you know what? Out of everybody I'll take, I could go crazy and say I'll take my future self, but we could do some, what do you call it? I'm just going to take my mom with me, basically,
Hey.
Ah,
because there's gonna be a lot of us. Like I said, she had no idea half of what was even going on, and trust me, there's gonna be a lot to say. And oh, she gonna kill him. She gonna basically kick that man's ass to the next few years. She gonna kill that man. And while that's happening, I'm just gonna be like, you probably haven't ever felt someone hurt you the way you hurt people. But like a friend of mine once said, when you hit somebody, when you put out hate into the world, it will come back to you a thousandfold. So you must feel like you do it and you forget about it. Life doesn't forget about it. God doesn't forget about it. And you're going to live the rest of your life knowing that every single seed that you sowed for evil are going to germinate. And for every good deed that happened, for those who survived your machinations, your manipulations, your evil schemes, they will forget about you. You will grow old and you will die alone. You will die miserable. Nobody will give a damn about you. You have no legacy because everybody will move on. Evil begets evil, and evil doesn't trust evil. So those that you think are in your corner, they will turn against you in 2 seconds. and I feel sad for you. I feel really sorry for you. But you know what? Yeah, he's dead by now, so I'm just gonna be like,
Oh,
yeah, let's just go. They killed them. I was not done, and you killed them. Let's go.
wow,
Oh, Lord have mercy.
wow. I must say, uh, you might as well just tell them that.
For me, is I don't know who I would take with me. I just know the technique I would like. Uh,
Oh, all right.
Ooh,
Do tell. Do tell.
okay,
I can give
okay.
Satan some ideas. Go ahead.
I don't know if you've ever seen Law Abiding Citizen.
Oh, yes.
There would be the law abiding citizen style torture,
Okay.
very, very slowly,
Yeah.
and then a public stoning.
Oh,
Oh,
I
she
love
took it
it.
back back. She said, Jesus, you better come help him.
Yeah,
I
she did.
love it. I
But
love it.
the person who uh, offended me, they had such a hard life. Uh, they got that over and over and over. Uh, just with the way that they lived their life, they suffered quite a lot during their adulthood. Um, and no longer.
After listening to you guys' stories and things like that, when it does upset me, I think about certain ways that I probably would torture somebody. And I listen to, just by listening to, uh, I want to say the Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah,
Oh,
Mr. Jackson.
I will I will put you in an alcohol bath with nothing but paper cuts, razor
Oh,
blades all over you. You sit in the razor blade bath, but at the same time you're sitting in the razor blade bath, you will be forced to eat food. But while you're eating food, prior to that, your asshole was closed together. So I just keep feeding you and feed you and feed you.
note to self: don't fuck with Mr. Jackson.
I
Got
was
it.
noting to
Or
self
Mrs.
already as he was
Jackson at
talking, like,
that.
oh,
Okay, I'm not fucking with either one of y'all.
it's always the sweetest one
Right?
the
with
sweetest
the
ones
greatest
have been
idea.
through.
Yeah, but that's
The
why.
sweetest people have been through some of the hardest times,
That's a fact.
and our spicy side is just is intense.
Yeah.
Fact.
You guys, trust me.
It makes me feel way more normal now.
Like,
She's like, damn.
I'm over here like, that sounds kind of like me, but I ain't want to go too bad.
Listen,
now I'm like,
Yeah,
let
when
me
I heard
go.
that, I was like, yeah, I like that.
You gotta remember, I'm a Gemini, so I see both sides in everything. Like, yeah, I want them to heal, and I know they can learn something from it, but they should get punched in their face.
Yeah.
I'm a Leo. Fuck around and find out. Once you cross me, fuck you. You were Satan now.
Listen,
I gave you enough
I
chances.
give warnings. Hey, I don't think you should talk to me like that.
Mhm.
Hey, I don't think you should get that close. Hey, I think your tone is way too loud. I'm standing right here. And the biggest one is when they go, pray for them. You gotta pray
and
for
once
them.
he's angry, he's a different person.
Yo, Mr. Jackson, that reminded me of the movie Saw when she gets thrown into that needle pit. Oh,
I remember that.
the razor blade back.
Oh man,
Oh my god.
Saw
Saw was so torture.
is torture.
And they did say that, like,
I don't
that
suck a lot of
movie.
people out there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm still a
he
gentle
is so
giant.
sweet, but let me tell you,
With blades. Remember the tub had blades.
Right, razor blades and alcohol, and your booty hole sewn shut, and you get stuffed.
So let's keep
Well,
our hands
damn.
to ourselves
Right.
and our words kind.
Hey, she say, "Oh, glad I said happy birthday."
No, for real.
That's why I shouted into the rooftops. I'm
I
like,
would wait. I would wait on the happy birthday. Please don't put me in my own bathtub, Mr. Jackson. I'm
You're
sorry.
good. You good.
I'm Mr. Jackson.
You know, at this point, whoever you're giving this torture is basically going to be begging for karma. It's going to be like, karma, where the hell you at? She's going.
Right.
I need karma now.
Yes, yes.
I don't want to mess with Mr. Jackson no more. Just give me karma.
Right. Well, that's kind of where I was going with Satan, because he would know his own personal hell, right? Like, hell will be personalized to your biggest fears. So have fun with that.
Yes, yes.
And you know, his biggest fear would be himself, because most of these abusers, they feel it is a fear manifesting themselves
I think
in
it's a
the
loss of
abuse.
control. I think it's a loss of control is the biggest fear too, right?
That's true. Control and loneliness, fear of being alone, and fear of the fact that you will succeed without them. They know, they see that without them, they see the star you are. Oh my God, she is going to marry somebody awesome. Oh my God, she is a good mother. Oh my God, she is a star. She can sing, she can write stuff. But I'm nothing, you know? I'm just
See,
empty. So she
you're
should be
onto
nothing as
something.
well.
A big screen with my life, all of my successes are playing in the background. and he has to keep reliving the day that I walked out.
Ooh, oh.
That won't be a good birthday.
That would be cool.
I would never want a birthday again. Sheesh.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that question because I was just thinking about it.
Sorry.
Next week is definitely going to be, next week going to be this date, and I think, okay, just asking that question, like, what would you do if, because I keep thinking about, damn, what would I do? Who would I take? You know what I'm saying? So I was like, wow. So I was like, it's like I couldn't hold it. I had to get it out. I said, I want to see what they say. You know what I'm saying? But
I like it.
Yes, all the answers were beautiful. They were
Listen, if my ancestors and my spirit guides could go show fate.
Yes, Queen Bee. I'm sorry.
Let's go.
You're done.
You're done. You're done.
That's it. You're done.
Double fuck. You're done.
You're done.
Yeah, that.
Oh,
I love Queen Bee.
So, Mr. Jackson, someone says human centipede. Okay,
What's that?
here we go.
What's human centipede?
Where your mouth hole is sewn to somebody else's booty hole, and they
There's a
shit
movie
into
like
you,
that.
and then it just keeps going.
Oh my God.
There's a movie like that.
would be
Uh-huh.
what?
Horrible.
wait, what?
Okay, so it's like, okay, so let's pretend for this fucked up experience that it's the five of us, okay? I'm gonna be the mouth because fuck the rest of the shit. So I would eat the food, and then their mouth would be sewed to my booty hole, and then their booty
So
hole
on
would
and so
have someone
forth.
else's mouth, and then so on and so forth. So like, as I eat the food, I would shit into one of y'all's mouth, then y'all would eat my shit, and it would turn into shit in your
Okay.
body, and then you would shit into somebody else's mouth, and it's just a shit train.
At the end, someone just got to die. I mean,
But
someone
like, I'm
just got
gonna
to
eat
kill
the real
themselves.
food. Sorry, y'all. I'm gonna be the head of the centipede.
No, but,
'cause-
you know,
You're done.
you're done. One more to the head. You're done.
You should have just stopped that human centipede.
Right. I mean, he needed an explanation. So
I
that's
did, and on that note,
right. Here comes the back.
Oh my God.
it's been a pleasure having you guys here.
Namaste.
But really,
That's
I
great for
really
that.
appreciate you guys coming again for the second week. I can't wait for
I
the third day.
appreciate
It was
you.
amazing. I love the stories. I definitely love the answers to the questions. It's been awesome. You guys have been awesome coming through and sharing your stories with everybody. And you guys are definitely victors to me and my wife. And I love you all. And I
Love you too.
Yes, appreciate
Thank you.
for coming.
Thank you for having us again
Yes,
and giving us the space to share. Appreciate it.
no problem. glad we have
And the space to be weirdos and be fucking crazy
exactly.
town. Why not?
Exactly.
We love it.
Of course. Be you. You know what I'm saying?
And we will be back next week for part 3.
Escape.
Escape.
So stay tuned. Come through. Tell your friends, family members, everything.
Anyone you think that needs to see this too, bring them along.
Bring them
Share the
over.
link.
You know, and
Yep, I've been sharing like
learn
crazy.
different things. You know, it's just amazing.
Totally.
Definitely learning things for other people too helps. I'm sorry to cut you off, Mr.
No problem.
Jackson.
Go for it.
I was just reading something earlier about that a lot of people, they're scared to help they know somebody's going through something. They're not going through anything, so they don't know how to help. They don't want to like intrude on something personal. They don't want to make the person feel less than. And I know that was the biggest thing for me, was pushing the help away. But even when I just want to remind people, even when somebody pushes you away, even though you know something's going on, try. Try something to get through to them. Anything will do. At least that person will look back and say, wow, they tried to help me. Because
Right.
I wish I had that. Somebody that was consistent for me. Because I couldn't be consistent for myself.
And someone that you could trust also.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing.
Facts.
Right. Thank you so much for that.
Wish you all a beautiful rest of the week.
Yes.
Until we meet again.
Yes. Love you too.
Much love.
Much love.
Much love.
Big hearts.
I'm going to put the numbers up again in case anybody needs them. And thank you guys. Good night. And we love you.
Love y'all.